My stomach hurts so much. You started.
Yo, we back again. Nico, Rico, welcome back from Colombia. Had a good time.
Yes and no. But the good times was really good. Maybe a little too good. The bad times were no, they were bad times. It was a really I'm emotionally conflicted from this trip.
Oh,
Ooh, you
man.
hear that?
Okay.
Damn.
That says a lot. Says a lot without saying too much.
I know.
All right. Well, speaking on the subject, all right.
Many conversations
Many all right.
took place.
So speaking about that, what how would you go about having a difficult conversation with someone and conveying to them something they need to hear, they maybe need to know, something they might already know.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have to bring the reality to them. Let's start with that. How do you usually approach that?
It's better like if you're going because usually those conversations you have more than once. At least one time you need to be as blunt as possible.
Okay. All right.
Now, it's not the same when you know something, when whether deep down or whether you know it, you just don't want to admit it either to yourself or to other people. And it's not the same when somebody else says it to you. It's a very completely different thing, at least in my experience. I've thought something many times and I'm like, okay, that's what's up, whether good or bad. But when somebody else says it to me, now I really pay attention to it. Has that ever happened to you?
All right. So we
Somebody
talk
brings
about
it up
something tells me something that I don't know or I do know.
that you do know.
Oh, when somebody brings something to my attention, it lets me know that they're aware of it too. So now I can't really.
Now you take it a little more seriously.
Yeah, I might take it a little bit more serious. Like, oh snap.
It's not just me.
Yeah, because like
maybe I am right.
Yeah, it's like if I'm like, is that me? And then somebody else like, hey man, you good? Like then you really like, yeah, you really gotta tighten up at that point.
That's the perfect example because it's usually something bad.
Yeah, or it could be something good, but like, man, am I making game? I'm like, I'm feeling strong.
That's true.
Man,
that's true. You're like, oh, okay, I am making these games.
Right. So yeah, it could be in both situations.
I feel like the people you love and who love you, it should really be coming from them first. Because those are the people you trust the most. So I mean, you're the one, the friend who tell you what you want to hear, or the friend who tell you what you need to hear. So I think it's better that you go what you need to hear, and it's just better for everybody, man.
Man, some people trust strangers more than they trust people who are close to them, though.
Well, that's them for being stupid in close and choosing the wrong people.
I just say, look,
that's on them.
I just say that some people trust people, strangers, than people who are close to them because they expect people close to them, especially if you develop the type of people close to you who are yes men or women that always agree with you and don't call you out and hold you accountable because they're afraid of you or
even if they love you. Even if they love you.
I know it's a questionable type of affection they have for you, love or whatever, but
a lot of parents are blind, man.
Yeah, possibly. Because I look at
a lot of parents don't want to confront you on things.
Yeah, a lot, but a lot
even
of parents,
though they love you.
A lot of parents don't want to be confronted about things.
Yeah, and that, yeah.
Yeah. I recently had a conversation with my mom and my dad, separate things, just about things that we dealt with in life. And with my dad, it was kind of like he really couldn't say anything. He was just kind of like all he did was listen. With my mom, she tried to push back and this and that and this. Well, I did the best I could, and this da 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 da. And at the end of all the conversation, I had to let each of them know that this was not a conversation to bash you. This is a conversation to inform you, so that we are all on the same page. So that like when we talk now, we both come to a place of understanding. You were doing the raising, I was being raised. Let's have an understanding of how that went for the both of us. So I can see their point of view, they can see my point of view, so we can have an understanding. When I had a conversation with my dad, it was very blunt, it was very direct, but it wasn't brutally honest. Because I know a lot of people who say people who are brutally honest take pleasure in the brutality, not so much the honesty. But like I said, my dad was stuck. He didn't know, he didn't have any mechanism to cope with what I was telling him. He couldn't deny it, yet he was not prepared to respond to it. So when I told
but it was true, it came from a place of love, and he needed to be aware of it.
Yeah, and for me, it came from a place of needing closure. So his silence, like it wasn't like it was silence, he was just like, oh, all right. It was more, it was more like I don't know what you want me to do, bro. And that was enough for me to be like, all right, cool. Now you know whether you knew or not. Now you know now, and we're able to reset our relationship, and then now we have an adult son and father relationship. With my mom, like I said, she pushed back because there's a lot more emotional entanglement with it. But my mom, people who are a little bit more emotionally entangled have to go through a lot more growth, and they have to go through a level of accountability. They have to acknowledge, like, oh, okay, I push back because what you said is fearful to me or hurtful to me. If you're just indifferent, like, oh my bad, I ain't know, or I don't know what you want me to do with that. You're kind of neutral, so you just gotta kind of accept it. But people who push back the way they push back for a reason. So after you get past the pushing back and the acceptance part, then we have an understanding. So we got to that part.
I had a difficult conversation with somebody,
Uh,
and the reason Rico wanted to do this podcast is I said, if you've been together for over a decade and it didn't work out, then maybe the other person's right, and you should end things.
yeah, so like when you talk to friends who are in relationships, like people who have long relationships, whether it be anybody you know, friends, family. I got homeboys that's been married for a long time, not married, but in relationships for a long time, or they've been in a cycle of relationships. They keep getting the same type of relationship and having the same result. Man, she did this, she did this, she did that. Well, they all do the same thing, man. Maybe it's you, right? So there's that aspect. But yeah, like you said, if there's you have if you have an honest conversation with someone, identifying the issues, that's what it's gonna be. You can go through the night.
It's just difficult because he doesn't want to end things, but she wants to separate.
But I understand because we get accustomed to things. We get accustomed, we get comfortable, we get is it right?
No.
Okay. We get comfortable, we get accustomed, we've etched out our lives, and even the thing that hurts us, we hold on to because it's all we know. It's the devil we know, apparently the devil we don't.
That is true.
Or we know we rather have something problematic in the space than have to deal with the void. It's like a old beat up old couch.
100,000,000%.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah. I'd rather have the old beat up old couch than I ain't got it.
Got no couch.
So, but
at least I can sit very uncomfortably in it and get back pain.
See,
but I don't gotta be standing all day.
When the rent people want to come get the couch, we're like, you ain't doing the couch right. I mean, you the couch, you gotta take the couch out of there. But no, it's
you ain't bringing no girls over from the club and then showing them this couch. You're not gonna hit it.
What about no couch? You gonna be couchless.
Yeah. No one can drink enough to let them do anything with you
with no couch.
With this couch like that. Or no couch.
Or no couch at all, because you got a hard floor. But what I'm saying, just to say all that, was like it's good to be able to have a hard conversation, because hard conversations allow us to understand where those in our lives who can grant us a level of security.
And don't forget that hardcore conversations, because it sounds negative, but hard conversations don't necessarily have to be negative.
They don't have to necessarily be negative.
I know, for example, with my mom, we've had a lot of hard conversations that they're actually positive. Maybe I'm going through something, I'm thinking a certain way that's either not the way I usually think, or a way that hurts me. And she's woken me up, and that's a good hard conversation. It's like, hey, this is true.
Yeah, you might have to face a hard variable, something embarrassing or painful. You know it, but you haven't really confronted it. And confronting it with someone else, whether especially if they're hard, but not simply like, oh, poor baby, and it's not really helping you because they're placating you, but they're being like, they're calling out to you about, hey, Nico, you're a smart guy. You do this. You've accomplished these things. You know these things. Put together a game plan of dealing with these things. But let's acknowledge it first. You might have messed up. This person might have messed you over. You had a lot riding on this. X, Y, Z, right? Those are the variables we understand. Okay. What are options that you can do something with? I can do this, that, and the third. Okay, let's do these things. When you break it down with someone else to confront it with you, it makes more sense, and it's a little easier to deal with, especially if you're issued with that other person. And we talked about spitefulness before. if you and the other person really want to get past it, not keep that third realm of or third entity of a spite around or whatever, it's better to have the hard conversation to say you wrong me, well, you wrong me. Get all that stuff out. Get all that stuff past. Deal with it, let it die, and then move on. Whether you come to a neutral point, like, all right, you go your way, I go mine, or I'm glad we had this conversation. It was hard, but mature heads prevailed, cooler heads prevailed, we got through.
And about the specific situation,
Mhm.
the way I see it is with long-term relationships,
Right.
by a certain point, like, I'm sorry. And this is also what I said. I'm like, hey, man, and I think I threw a hand also in another conversation. After a couple years of living together, what's up.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah, unless you get so detached and you do your own, you live in your own world that you're gotten accustomed to things being provided for you, but you're not providing for that dynamic in relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you get detached and you don't know what's going, but then you might not know. Like you might not know how far it's gone, or how bad it's gotten.
It's just it's so painful for you to face the truth sometimes that a lot of people want to escape it.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot, and I've done it too, and I'm sure I'm going to do it again. But I usually try to identify that in myself and attempt to avoid it. At least I'm not perfect at it, but I do consider myself a little better than average, just for the mere fact that I'm aware that exists, and that everyone as humans, we can just do that automatically.
Yeah, we make concessions. We like, oh, I can do it later. I can do this. I can do it. I'll get to it. And then when we haven't done it for so long, I'm guilty of this myself. We let desperation force our hand. We procrastinate, or we let, oh, I can get it. I can always make the money again. I can always do this. I can spend this now. We always justify it. But if we know the value and importance of certain things and maximize things, it's like a trend, or like a momentum. Once you have momentum and you start getting stuff done, you start seeing how great it is. You do it for a while, but you do get exhaustion to a point and it's easy to fall off. And it's like, oh, well, this is comfortable. Well, chilling is comfortable. So you get that adverse reverse momentum of, yeah, I can chill, I can chill, I can chill. No, I can chill. I'll take care of that later. And then you get so far behind it, it motivates you to knock everything out. And you love that feeling again. Oh man, it feels great to knock 15 things out. Oh man, ebb and flow, man. Ebb and flow, bro. Ebb and flow. But it's good to have a hard, but as far as a hard conversation, it's good to have the moral and emotional, mental strength to have hard conversations, because everybody got that.
Yeah, and even though something's difficult, you gotta move through it. I think that's what everything's about, really. So I mean, I said this relationship is not working out. It doesn't matter what you alone think. It's gotta work out for both.
Yes, I mean,
if it doesn't work out for both people at the same time, that's bad and good. Because bad in the way that, if you both stay in the relationship, you're gonna resent each other, you're gonna be miserable. And good in the way that you both want to end it, so the other person doesn't feel like left out.
Okay.
It's not the same when somebody dumps you that when you dump somebody. You can't tell me that.
Yeah, but I would say like this: for the individual who is distraught about how the direction is going, they should do whatever they can to change it. But they have to change themselves. You just can't change yourself to get back to a comfortable spot.
Didn't have the time, but that was the second half, the second part of my conversation.
Oh, okay.
I needed to tell him that. I said, basically, if she's asking for X things for this to work out, it's not like, oh, she's got to think about everything. She's got to think about this and that. No, you also have to think, if this is what she wants to be in a relationship with me, I got to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's got to work out for both.
You got to do it. You can't just do it for that moment. You
can't just do it for that moment.
It has to be like, this becomes natural.
It's a commitment, which you should have thought about in the beginning, but they didn't. But it's fine. It happens. You have to actually do it and change forever. If not, why would you even put in the work? Just end it as well.
Yeah. Because you're only gonna do it for right then to get it back to what it was. It's eventually gonna crash.
And that's how 99% of people work.
Yeah, I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna do it, whatever. And you get better for a little bit, and you slide back into it. So it should always be an evolution. It should always be evolution. And you know what? You gotta have these hard conversations to address what's not evolving, what's not moving, what's not progressing, or what's hurting. Well, this is what's hurting you. Okay, this is what's hurting me. Where can we compromise? Where can we come together on this? And know that we value this thing together and be like, man, it was a tough conversation, but I'm glad we had it because now I know better. I can do that. I want to do that. I will do that because it will ultimately make me better. Oh, you're gonna do the same thing? Oh, you're gonna invest in those things, not just for me or our relationship, but for yourself as well. Dang, I know I'm with the right person because they're willing to go the distance as much as as much as I am. They're willing to go the distance for themselves, for this relationship, and for me, and I'm willing to do those three things for them. Oh man, it's awesome. And you just keep that, and just hopefully you can keep each other strong. You're gonna get tired. You're gonna lift everybody up. You can lift each other person at one time, but as long as you keep that going. But when someone fails on that, and you only want to do it in the short term and not really for the long term, man, it's like maintenance. If you're not gonna do long term maintenance, eventually everything will break down.
You're wasting their time. You're wasting your own time, especially when there's a kid in between. That's what hurts me the most. He's in the middle of everything. And if I felt it for a week, imagine him who lives there every goddamn day.
Man, it be what it be, bro. It be what it be. But
this will toughen up a little bit with cheating.
yeah, a lot of tough news we get out here, especially when you think about all the tough news.
That's what the world is, baby.
That's the world is, man. Yeah, but you got to evolve with it. You have to be willing to evolve yourself, and I think that's fear. People are afraid of changing themselves because they won't recognize who they are or what they were. But it won't even be relevant because once you change, you're changed. You'll be able to look back and be like, oh man, I used to be that. You only feel bad about change when you made change for the worse. I'm less than I was. I lost. I don't have as much. It's just if you contributed to that. But if you contributed and you evolved, you can look back and was like, oh man, I used to do that. I don't do that. Maybe I miss it. Maybe I don't. Or this stuff like, man, I used to be broke. I used to be bad. I used to be having negatives, but now I'm so much better. I'm so much thankful. I might not be rich, but I'm comfortable. I might not have the supermodel, but I got a wife that loves me hard about it, and she does all these things for me. Man, I might not have the best car, but man, I got my truck that's reliable. They're all paid off. I'm good. You start looking, when you get old, and time wears on you, start looking things from a different perspective, different lens, and you start appreciating the hardships. Start appreciating the hardships, man. Good or bad, man.
You gotta use them to your advantage somehow.
Better. Because they're coming regardless if you use them, lose them.
Even if you do everything right in your life, are they still gonna happen?
Yeah, absolutely. The
All you can do is minimize them.
The only thing you can minimize. The only thing that you can do in life absolutely well, like perfectly, and not worry about any other problems is die perfectly. That's the only thing. If you die young perfectly, it's way to go out. You don't have to worry about no problems after that. Things are technically easy for you after that.
Well, there's still people left behind, hopefully, that are gonna cry for your loss, you know. Even then.
Now someone's gonna have it hard for you after you're gone, but that's the only way that you can go through life with things very easy if you do something perfect.
I gotta get on the prayer. Let us know in the comments down below the last time you've had a very hard conversation with somebody. Say, hey man, being in bed with you sucks. Say, hey man, your breath stinks. Hey man, you're fired. Hey man. Every hard conversation. The top 3, leave them down below in the comments. Thank you, Rico, for this podcast. Yeah. Thank you for watching all the way till the end. Hit the like button, hit the comment, subscribe, share it with everybody. I didn't say like first.
Like, subscribe, share, and comment. We really appreciate you guys.
Tell them that if they ain't watching the Rico Nico podcast, they are missing out.
We gotta do something about that, man.
You only have one life, and you went through it without watching one episode of this podcast. I don't know how to tell you.
Indeed.
On Judgment Day, what are you gonna say? No, I missed it because I didn't do what I was supposed to. How are you gonna explain that to the Lord, your Savior?
Good night.